Welcome back to Tip of the Spear, where we talk about all things Wetumpka athletics. I'm your host, Chandler Ward, and with me today is my co-host, Deacon Meeks. Kicking the week off strong, track and field's Elijah Bracey has won First Community Bank's Player of the Week. Bracey placed third in the triple jump and fifth in the long jump at the Icebreaker Invitational in Birmingham. Following Bracey, we have Wetumpka's dance competition team. They're going to be headed to Birmingham for their first competition this Saturday, and following, they're headed to Orlando on Wednesday for Nationals. And we saw a bit of a sneak peek of what they're going to showcase for us at Nationals at last Friday night's game against Stanhope. The boys beat Stanhope 66-28, and the Lady Indians fell short 62-57.
Now, with that win against Stanhope, the men's team has officially become the top seed in the 6A Area 4 tournament. Now, with that top seed, they are now hosting that at home, and if they win that tournament, they clinch a playoff seed for the second consecutive season in a row for the Wetumpka Indians. The girls, on the other hand, will be battling Percy Julian in a chance to play Stanhope for the 6A Area 4 championship and also get a chance to go to the tournament for the second season in a row.
Yeah, and with that, Deacon, if they beat Stanhope, or if they beat Percy Julian, they're going to play Stanhope for the third time in a row. And to me, that just sounds like a revenge arc stirring up. Now, I recently did an interview with varsity basketball player Logan Banks, so I kind of want to let everyone know what she had to say about that game. Now, Logan, given that y'all lost both last Friday and this Friday against the Stanhope Mustangs, I kind of want to know your takeaways from both games, given that you were the key player in pretty much both of the games, scoring 12 tonight and just being overall a key asset in both games.
The first game, I feel like I didn't play my best, and we didn't play as a team, and we kind of broke away. And they run their runs. They had a shooter and whatnot. And this game, we stuck together. They just went on some runs in the third and fourth quarter, and we tried to stay composed. But they got the fast break points and the steals and the loose balls, and we'll get them next time.
All right. Well, you had a great game tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think that was very well said by Logan Banks. She was a key asset in not only last Friday night's game against Stanhope, but the game before, scoring 12 last Friday. Now, Logan Banks was right about some of the things they need to work on, Stanhope had a lot of breakaways. They had that one three-point shooter, number 3. She was going off last Friday night. So if they could just step up a little bit and keep the fast breaks down, I think the Indians could definitely smoke the Mustangs if they make it to that championship game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And trusting your teammates is such a key factor that the Lady Indians are going to need. Mitch Petrie with the Wetumpka Sports Network actually talked about that last night playing against Marbury, and the Lady Indians put that in full effect. They trusted the guards, trusted their bigs in Logan Banks as well as Queen Ballard to handle the ball well in the paint and to go up strong for the layups. So that's something that the Lady Indians are going to have to focus on against Stanhope.
Yeah, absolutely. And Deacon, like you said, they did put that in full force, beating Marbury 75-12. Now they beat Marbury as well by a big point differential, but 63 points is a humongous differential there. The boys also won their game against Marbury last night, so both teams are doing outstanding currently. Now, another thing they could work on is probably going to be second chance points. That's a big key to winning a game. You miss a shot, whether it's Caleb Ballard getting his own rebound, putting it up, Andrew Voiles misses, gets the ball back and shoots a 3. That's something you've got to look for, is those second chance points, because without them, you could potentially lose the game.
Yeah, I completely agree, but the Indians did such a great job last night against Marbury, going up there and going up strong to get boards, especially Caleb Ballard. I like to point him out. He had 20 boards in total last night and just did a great job cleaning off the glass, and he's going to be my basketball MVP prediction for the next game against Percy Julian Thursday night. Caleb Ballard went up with force and dominance that whole game and did not relent. Along with Coach Stephen Thomas, he kept his starters out for the remainder of the game and made them push and trust each other with all their hearts.
Absolutely, and Coach Stephen Thomas teaches that team chemistry, All of the men's basketball team, whether they're new like Caleb Ballard, whether they're old like Andrew Voiles, they all have team chemistry. The bench players, when they get out there, team chemistry, and that's something that you've got to you've got to praise Coach Thomas for is he makes sure that they work together, they hustle, and they keep up that good work. Now, for me, MVP prediction is going to be Tom Suddeth. Now, obviously he didn't play too much in the Marbury game, but he played a great amount in the Stanhope game. He had 16 points and 11 rebounds, scoring a double-double. And now he may not be Mr. Double-Double as Caleb Ballard is with 5th in the nation and 1st in Alabama, but he's definitely putting up some points there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our big duo in Tom Suddeth as well as Caleb Ballard have been dominant this whole season and continue to be. That's like the two main characters that we talk about whenever we talk about basketball. But someone I'd like to point out for the girls as well is Maya Richardson. While she doesn't usually show it on the scorecards, she is a great defensive player. You can't deny it. She had double-digit steals last night against Marbury with, I believe, 11 steals. And she is such a great passing and playmaker as well for the Lady Indians in that guard spot, and trusted her bigs and Queen Ballard as well as Logan Banks to go up and get the dirty work done in the paint. Absolutely.
And like you were saying, she may not be what you're trusting in for the scorecard, but when you see her at the three-point line, that's somebody you will trust in. You know, you've got her, Aaliyah Humphrey, Lexi Smith. You've got a bunch of great three-point shooters on the Lady Indians team. One, in fact, as I just mentioned, would be Lexi Smith. That's going to be my girls' MVP. Lexi scored 3 three-point shots in the Stanhope game last Friday night, and she just went off as it was. She was great offensively, great defensively, and kept the hustle up all night. That's someone you're always going to want to look for, no matter if they're having an off night or not.
Yeah, I completely agree. And not only is three-point shooting the main factor, but it's also just passing the ball around. Our guards, the Lady Indians guards, do such a great job at trusting each other with ball handling, with passing the ball around, and sometimes they incorporate their bigs to it. You know, Queen Ballard will go up near the free throw line and just get the ball moving, and that works every single time for the Lady Indians.
Absolutely. That's the things we like to see, you know, is that team chemistry, passing the ball around, getting good shots, you know, not just shooting to shoot, you know. They may say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but that doesn't mean you always have to take it. Now, while we're talking about what we liked, I'd like to mention that the rebounding game has been on top. Like you mentioned, Caleb Ballard, 20 rebounds. Tom Suddeth, 11 rebounds. 48 rebounds in total at the Stanhope game. That's insane. The Wetumpka, the boys Indians have been going off with rebounding and just putting their boards right back up every single game they've played, and it's just a dominant force, and I'm scared for the teams that they're going to play in the playoffs if they beat Stanhope in the championship game.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's just something that you coach. Stephen Thomas has done a great job at developing his boys, specifically Caleb Ballard, to just be strong and trust yourself, to go up for the boards and not be scared of another defender and just let them get the board. He lets Caleb know. He tells him to go in the paint and to get the board. So great job by Coach Stephen Thomas to let his boys know to trust in themselves.
And Deacon, while we're on the topic of coaching with Coach Stephen Thomas and Caleb Ballard, I'd like to welcome special guest Kyle Ballard. This is JV and assistant head coach for varsity. So Kyle, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now we're going to ask you a couple questions. So for starters, I want to know, what are your thoughts on how this basketball season has gone? You know, y'all have been very dominant, currently 16-7, and what do you think it's going to take to make a strong playoff performance?
Well, it's going to take us to play good defense and offense, rebounding the ball. We've been trying to keep working on keeping the ball and not turning it over as much. But as a lot of coaches says, the team with the less turnovers win ball games, and that's
Absolutely.
what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But I'd also like to ask you a question. How was it transferring and mentoring Caleb Ballard from Coosa County High School to Wetumpka High School with new teammates, new environment? How was that?
Well, you know, both of us faced a little adversity with that. We both had we bumped head a couple of times, and we didn't agree on a lot of things, but it took a little time, and it took us to realize that we're now in another classification. We're moved up now, and it's going to take time to work with both of us to get better in this classification.
Yeah, that's great. I'd love to see y'all brothers come together and work together. Y'all are a great duo. I see y'all on the court talking to each other and stuff, so great job with y'all.
Absolutely. Now, Caleb, One thing I bet is very exciting for you is being an assistant coach and manager for the basketball team as a sophomore. You know, we talk about Caleb a lot as he's a sophomore, 6'5", and he's throwing down dunks that you'll see in NBA games. So what are your thoughts on being a coach? Is that exciting? Like, what do you really have to tell us? Like, is it challenging for you at all?
Well, it has its ups and downs. In the beginning, it was very challenging. I had to learn a lot of things about the sport. I had to get my IQ higher than where it was and learn more about the game so I could help others figure out their spot and help them get better in the game also.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yes, it is a very challenging thing.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, we thank you very much for coming on, and we're just very excited to see what you, your brother, and the rest of the team have in store for us for the rest of these games. I know y'all season technically ends January 30th, but y'all have that area tournament coming up, and let's hope the playoffs coming up. So once again, thank you very much. And that is going to wrap up this week's episode of Tip the Spear. If you want to go watch Percy Julian versus Wetumpka, that's going to be on Wetumpka Athletics Live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And if you'd like to see more of us, that's going to be on our Instagram. We just made it. It's we2_spear25. So make sure to go check that out. And as always, win the moment, Wetumpka.